Everyone knows 2FA is a powerful anti-fraud, anti-hacking tool, but it can also be used to hack you and your client's data. So how do we keep ourselves safe? This is the NJCPA Issues Watch podcast. Welcome back to the NJCPA Issues Watch podcast. I'm your host for everything tech related, Sean Stein Smith. And as always, I am amped to have the opportunity to talk to all of you about topics related to emerging tools, technologies, all the rest, but to also hopefully during our time here today, give you some action items and some tips, right, to help you understand how these trends are impacting all of us, our external clients, and then how we can actually better give our clients advice going forward. So with that said, let's hop right into it. So our topic here today is 2FA. And all of you have, I'm sure, heard of 2FA, but if you haven't, it's any time that you have to either answer a text, phone call, email link, anything like that, that then adds a extra either device and or extra step to have you access any information. And so most banks, payment processors, firms have 2FA implemented to a certain level at this point. But basically, sort of the whole point of 2FA is to add in a extra layer to help keep our information safe, and to then by default add in a extra obstacle, for any hackers or any cyber criminals who are trying to gain access to our data or our external client data. So as any tool or any application, right, it is not perfect. And there are still ways in which hackers, criminals, unethical actors, former employees can actually get into information, even if it has 2FA. And also, to just add some context here, there are any number of options out there. Duo Mobile, I know just anecdotally, to pay my PSE&G bill on my phone, I had to implement 2FA. So every time I access my information on my phone, username, password are input, and then I get a code via text. So anything like that for Amazon, PSE&G, banking stuff, items like that, all of that is 2FA. But there are any number of sort of ways in which, again, hackers or other cyber criminals can get access to that information. And the most common way is by accessing data that is either your data or your external client data that has been previously posted onto the dark web. So a real quick background here. Sort of the dark web is where all of the bad stuff is, and the deep web is any information kept behind a password or any sort of login portal. Okay. So deep web, totally safe in most cases. Dark web, probably not. Okay. So what happened to me, right? Why am I carving out time and having all of you carve out time to hear about 2FA? Well, I actually had a incident happen to me where 2FA was used to actually get access to a whole bunch of my personal data. So let's have a look and see what happened, how it happened, and then action steps that I took and that hopefully will help you all have conversations either in your firms or with your clients. So on March 18th, the morning after St. Patrick's Day, although I don't think that had any correlation. Um, I was the victim of a 2FA driven hack. And I'll come back to that note later, a port out hack. I'll come back to that later. But I already had 2FA protocols implemented over all of my emails, banking information, crypto information. I had 2FA already in place, and I update my passwords every 2 to 3 months. And I also have a personal VPN that I use automatically if I'm accessing Wi-Fi outside of my home. So I thought that I was pretty safe, right? 2FAs, passwords updated on a ongoing basis, and then having a extra layer of integrity via a virtual private network. I kind of thought I was good. Turns out I was not. So, how common is this? A eSIM hack or a port out hack? Well, it has become so common, right, that the folks at the FCC have had to create an entire resource page and area for individuals and entrepreneurs who are being hacked via their phones, right? Via either an eSIM hack or a port out hack, and I do have the hyperlink right here also. Also, just anybody who's interested, I actually just recently had an article on this topic published at NJCPA.org. Have a read. So in either case, your phone number, either you personally, your business phone, or a external client's phone, that phone number gets basically transferred to either a actual new device itself, or transferred to a alternate phone carrier. So for me, these hackers ported out my actual cell phone number to AT&T. Now, the whole porting out process is totally on the up and up, right? Because all that porting out means is that I'm taking my current number and I'm going from Verizon to Boost Mobile or to AT&T. That is totally fine, and so it happens every single day. So it's a pretty, I think, in hindsight, clever way to have access to a either a actual device with a phone number. And so here's how quickly this whole thing happened to me. So I was out and about running some errands that morning, and around 11 a.m. I had a text come through from Verizon, that told me that my port out had been authorized and that it was going to happen. I thought it was a phishing text, right? Because I had never heard of porting out phone numbers, and I thought it was all just either spam or a hacker trying to get access to my phone. But by a quarter after, phone was totally dead, not working at all. By I guess it was closer to quarter to 12, but I was back at the house on my laptop trying to figure out what's going on when I start getting emails that my email password is being changed. And so now I'm very anxious, very nervous, and also, worst of all, I didn't understand, right, how, why, who, what actually was actually happening to me. And then over that hour, I was trying to update my passwords for my email, banking stuff, but turns out I had a issue that I had implemented 2FA onto everything, basically, right? emails, banking data, crypto information, uh, you know, work files, items like that. But since I didn't have access anymore to my actual cell phone number, I could not update anything, right? Because the whole point of 2FA, it's to have a either your code sent. Usually, it's on your phone. In most cases, via text or an app. And so I didn't have access to my phone number anymore. That phone number, don't forget, uh, had been ported out. So I didn't have control over it anymore. So I was stuck. I was basically, cut out, frozen out of all of my information. So I was a little anxious at this point, as you might think. Wasn't having a great day. And so um, then at a certain point, called my brother, who happens to work in IT data security for a Fortune 100 firm, actually headquartered, just anecdotally, in New Jersey. So I was able to get him on the phone, and then basically get him to help me, right? Trying to figure out, how to, well, one, what's happening, and two, how to fix it. So then, over the course of probably 2.5 hours or so, I was on the phone with the phone company, trying to one, sort of talk to a actual person, and then have them understand what had uh, uh, actually happened to me, right? That even though I had put in the port out uh, information, that porting out had not come from me. So after getting at the time I thought a permanent number, I'll come back to that later. Basically, over the course of the afternoon, the evening, I'd say about 5-ish hours, I was on the phone trying to update passwords, all kinds of stuff, including freezing my credit score, blocking my actual credit, and then going through on the phone, right, manually updating my passwords and my 2FA information. So all of that happened in one day. But so all of that happened uh, on a Monday. And so by Wednesday afternoon, I got a text from Verizon saying, "Hey, Sean, great news. We have your old phone number back. Here it is. They're going to reactivate it. Everything's fine." I was like, please, please, I don't want the old number back. And so then I drove home, called them off the house phone, which I still had. So I called them, and then I had to basically have them officially deactivate my old number and then reissue that number that I had gotten, which at the time I had been told was a permanent number. Turns out it was a left hand and a right hand situation. So where I thought it was permanent, I was told it was permanent, but it was not actually. So, but fortunately, I was able to get that actual number back. So, in terms of the actual impact, right, outside of the anxiety and agita and all the rest, those hackers were able to gain access to my Marcus online banking portal and to my Coinbase portal. So the bank, actually Marcus, froze the transactions because the logging in had been unusual. So Marcus flagged it as a hack basically, and then froze it. But the hackers did actually get access to my Coinbase account and were able to conduct a trade for a sum of about five figures. Fortunately, I was able to get on the phone with the team at Coinbase and have them freeze that transaction, right? So the Bitcoin had been traded for cash, but that transaction hadn't actually settled out at the end of that business day. So I was able to have them hold on to it, keep it in my account in the form of a alternative token, which I'll come back to in a minute. So it honestly took me about a full week to go through, freeze all my credit, lock my credit, update everything. And it was all of these other things that sort of kept popping up during the week, right? So obviously, first things, it was the banking information, credit cards, items like that. But then even things like Amazon, right? My Home Depot app, my PSG app, everything had to be updated. And so all of that took about a full week, and all of it took time, right? Because I had to do it on the phone, trying to get to the right person at these companies to update my 2FA information, because all of your password changes, items like that, take a confirmation via 2FA. So it was a very manual process. But as of right now, all of my credit is still locked and or frozen. And I actually went to the police station and actually filed a formal police report. At the time, I do not believe that the officers understood the impact of it until I told them the actual dollars involved. So obviously, if this happens, hopefully not to you or to your firm, to a client, definitely, call the credit agencies, freeze your credit, talk to the police, do all of those steps. And I know doing that all takes time, but you have to do it, right? To have that trail intact, because because every time that there's any trade using crypto, that creates income tax liabilities, right? Outside of any other sort of fraudulent purchases made, all the rest, but there's a direct tax impact too. So I have my chat records from Coinbase, police report, all the rest. So hopefully I won't owe any extra income taxes as a result of this. We are going to see though. So I'm sure to keep you all posted. But yeah, so there are definitely implications. There are legal, there are online sort of image or optics, PR risks, and there are also income tax risks also. So all of that was a very sort of stress-inducing week or so, and now I am incredibly paranoid now, even to a higher level. With passwords and all the rest. So basically, if you are trying to have ongoing conversations, and I do know that as the end of the year comes up, and then it's going to be income tax time, that all of that does also coincide with information being stolen. So having proactive conversations, talk about 2FA, how it actually works, and then why it works that way is a excellent first, let's say, step. And then also, obviously, password hygiene, good passwords that are going to be updated often. And then also, try to really put into place password backups, password recovery options. I know buying a cheap burner phone whose only job is to be 2FA information, that's an option. Having a actual landline at the office or at the house, that's a other option. And also Google has a service where basically they will give you a Google phone number whose whole purpose is to serve as either a backup point of contact, or for just 2FA purposes. And then that number is not ever shared or ever used for anything else. And then obviously having you know, LifeLock, cyber insurance for the individuals at the firm or you and the firm itself, and also really just education as to how 2FA hacks can happen, how quickly uh, it can happen, and how important it honestly is to act with urgency if you do, hopefully not ever have this happen to you, to a friend, family member, or a external client. So hopefully my own tale added some value, added some extra context on a topic that I know can be irritating on a everyday basis, but it is important, but it is not perfect. And so, for anybody who is right here right now watching this, if you are not yet a member of the Emerging Technologies Interest Group, go and sign up at njcpa.org/groups. And all of our Issues Watch episodes are online at njcpa.org/podcast. And anybody who's interested in, any data or articles, webcasts, presentations on blockchain or crypto, all of that is online at njcpa.org/crypto. Thanks, and have an awesome day.